today is all about geometric. Yesterday was arithmetic where you add or subtract. But one thing you have to understand about mathematics, subtracting is really adding a negative number. Right?
Right.
Weird, right?
Yeah,
So that's why with arithmetic we say adding or subtracting, because it's one of those. But today when we talk about the geometric, it is only multiplication. It is not dividing by a number. It's only going to be multiplication. If you look on your formula sheet, that pink formula sheet, that will be on there for you. That is how you find terms. You need to know the first term, and you need to know what we call the common ratio. So common ratio is that R value that's in there. So once you know the first term, and I tell you what you're multiplying by, you just continue to multiply until you're done. Same thing as yesterday. You take the second term, and this time we're going to divide. So you take 6 divided by 3, 12 divided by 6, 24 divided by 12. So that's a 2, that's a 2, that's a 2. So your R value is 2. We are multiplying by 2 to get to the next number every time. So if somebody's sitting near you, double check to see if these are geometric or not. If you find it to be geometric, write down the R value. And be careful when there's positives or negatives. When you get into the fractions, you certainly can do those on your calculator. It might go a little faster, but okay.
Oh no.
When you see it go positive, negative, you know your R value is a negative sign on it, because that'll cause it to oscillate. So this ends up being a -2. This one ends up being -2/3, and then this one you would say no. Again, it's once you find one R value that's different, you can stop. Now with geometric, if the numbers are going up, you know that your R value is more than 1. And when I say that, it's like the absolute value is more than 1. But if the numbers are going down, you know you're thinking you're dividing by something, but that's multiplying by a fraction. That's what's causing it to go down. Okay, write the first 4 terms of the geometric sequence in which a sub 1 is 6. So, first 4. So a sub 1, they tell me, would be 6. A sub 2 would be 6 times -1/4. Now some of you might want to do that on the calculator, that's fine, but this is not bad. Whole number, if you want to think of it as over 1, right? Multiply across the top, I get -6/4. They both can be divided by 2, so I get -3/2. Now for the third one, I do that -3/2, and I multiply by -1/4. Multiply across the top and the bottom, I end up getting 3/8. That was a double negative there, so it's a positive answer. My fourth number is 3/8 times -1/4. 3 times 1 is 3. 8 times 4 is 32. That's a positive times a negative.
Wait.
Hang on. So 6, -3/2, 3/8, and then what is it? -3/32. So the question is, why am I not using the geometric formula? And I can for a sub 4. So I could go to a sub 4 and I could write down first term 6, R value -1/4, and then you do n minus 1, so 4 to the -1. So what you're really looking at is 6 times -1/4 cubed. Which is fine and dandy when you have the calculator sitting in front of you, right?
Yeah.
But what happens when that -1/4 is to the 4th or 5th power? How many of you can do 4 to the 5th power in your head or something. So with geometric, a lot of times it's much easier for us to work just one at a time. Multiply by r, multiply by r, multiply by r. Make sense? The numbers just are much easier to work with. Across the top, across the bottom. So we could take a look at, we could go back and take a look at, we had 6 parentheses, what was the r? -1 divided by 4. And then I want to raise that to the 4 minus 1 power or 3rd power. And I got that decimal. Then I would hit math, enter, enter. So there's our -3/32. So you're certainly welcome to type in the formula, but I think it's easier to do it like that. Write the first 4 terms of the geometric sequence in which a sub 1 is 81. Again, this is a subscript notation for recursive stuff. It says to get your next answer, your k plus 1 implies you're looking for the next number in the sequence, the next step. Take your most recent answer and multiply by 1/3. So write down the first 4 answers, please. I'm pausing, you're doing the work. So here's our answer. I'm going to take 1/3 of 81 from my a sub 2 term, that's 27. Take 1/3 of 27, that's 9. Take 1/3 of 9, that's 3. Now you are certainly welcome to, if you understand that this is geometric, go into a geometric mode and, for a sub 4, you might write down your first term. We're multiplying by 1/3 every step of the way, and then do a 4 minus 1. You can write out the actual formula for finding a term, but if you have to write out the 4 terms, it's probably easier just to work up one at a time. And that's a big hint as you go into the non-calculator portion of the exam. I would not use the formula if I have to do something without a calculator.
Write it down.
On problems like number 5, this is one I definitely would use the formula because if I don't have to, I don't want to have to do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So to find the 5th term, just so you know, a lot of times I'll just write down like a sub 5 or something. It doesn't mean arithmetic or anything. So I guess if you guys, you could write down g sub 5 to remind yourself you're doing geometric. I don't care. 4, 1/2. My n value is 5, and if you look at the formula, it's 5 minus 1. And that might be confusing to some of you if you remember back to Algebra 2, initial value versus, is it like step 1? So the bank account, grandma gives you $100 on the first day of the month, and she doubles it every day kind of problems. So am I working with a 0 term or not a 0 term? But if you've already got the first step, and you want to get out to the 5th step, you only have to multiply 4 more times. So that's why 5 minus 1 up there. What do you get?
16.
1/4. Again, first term was 4. And then the R value was 1/2. And we raised it to the 4th power. And then I will tell you, I think when you're working with geometric, writing down decimals is hard to recognize any of the patterns. So if you get off on a decimal, they don't really mean anything. 0.0937 doesn't mean anything to us. But when you go back and look at some of the other patterns that we saw on previous answers, you'll see that the denominator maybe is multiplying by 4 every time. So I think it's important to always write down the fraction. Math, enter any of your decimals.